Eyes up here. I'm the one you need to be looking at. So, woo, how about that? Hopefully everything's good to go, aligned and stuff. Lights, camera, action. As you can see, we made some new additions to the lighting setup. Alright, there we go. We're here, back in the bedroom. They're doing some repairs on the roof, so we cannot get up there right now. But it's alright, because we're here and we got lights. And the sunset's really early right now. So, yeah, I'm rocking a hoodie right now because it's warm and stuff. So, going to be talking about another light painting video right now. Did some more cosplay and light painting, so hopefully trying to make it a thing in the future. I don't know if that's like a thing that's going to catch on or not, but I like playing around with it, so we'll see what happens with it. Topic of today, why you should be using a flash if you're trying to do light painting and portraits. Could be for anything, could be for cosplay, could be for just, I don't know, just portraits in general if you're trying to do that, why you need to get a flash. So the reason why you probably need a flash is that if you're trying to do light painting, for example, a lot of times you'll see it's very landscape heavy. I've noticed with a lot of artists in the like sphere, it's really much just about the person you'll have, and then they're kind of a smaller element of the whole composition, which is very much kind of landscape heavy. It's focused on doing a lot of light graffiti, so to speak. So me personally, for my interest, I'm trying to do a lot more, I guess you could say, portrait heavy compositions. So basically, instead of doing like landscape, I'm doing portrait, and also I'm like focusing more on the person, focusing more on making sure that they're being shown, and hence why we have the flash here. So originally when I started doing a lot of light painting portraits, I was basically just using the light painting tool as a backlight without really thinking that, hey, you know, like you're probably not going to be able to see the person's face in editing, or it's really going to be really hard to bring up shadows. So having this flash right here really helps with bringing those shadows I've been seeing. Kind of just helps to, I guess, give more information for the sensor or something like that. So all I know is that it makes editing really easy for me. And it makes it really easy to also capture movement, because it is really hard to kind of stay still long enough for a lot of these exposures, and you will have some shutter drag, so to speak, from the subject or model's movements. So one of the best ways to kind of get around that is by taking it further away. So like if you take the shot from like further away, basically any of the little movements you'll see will be kind of harder to see because the camera cannot pick up that movement. Versus if you're like closer, then obviously you're going to see a lot more movement going on, a lot more motion drag going on and all that stuff. So having a flash kind of helps eliminate that, because basically by doing your light painting, and you can do it either at the beginning. I usually do a lot more rear shutter. I've been doing a lot more of the rear curtain shutter sync. So basically you can do a light painting and then hit the person with the flash. So that's basically how I've been doing. It's basically just light paint and then hit the person with the flash, freeze them, and then boom. So you're able to capture both the light painting, your like light graffiti, and then also the person, and make sure they're actually being illuminated and such for the shot. And a lot of times too, I can also add is that if you have like a remote shutter, you can sometimes kind of like finagle getting on there, and like basically having like that, it by adding it onto the hot shoe, you can basically have a remote shutter. It's still kind of janky for me. I don't know why. Like I have a Godox, two Godoxes, and like a newer one. It's kind of dumb in that like it doesn't have all the little smart things that the Godox has. So I've been noticing that when I use the newer and Godox one, for some reason, and it just works better, and I can get like two flashes firing off at once. But Godox is kind of hard to do with the rear curtain sync, so it makes it kind of hard to do light painting. So you might have to kind of Frankenstein and be a mad scientist with all this in order to kind of get what you need to work for your kit. So basically for this shoot, I was doing, like I said, working with a model who was a local cosplayer. She was basically dressed up as Sailor Moon, and then we actually managed to hit up the beach at Blue Hour this time, so that was really great. Kind of helped with the overall composition. I think like the last time I did like a beach shoot, I like went at nighttime, and it was just like kind of hard to work around with. So if you're gonna try to be doing shots and trying to get interesting compositions, definitely try to time out or kind of plan out and see what time Blue Hour is at. That way you can kind of get some really nice backdrop going on there too. Something else that also helps out too is, like I said, the something that I think of is like the portrait and landscape balance, almost like a seesaw going on there, where it's like if you want to have both elements of the portrait and landscape, it's kind of like which one kind of has a greater emphasis in the video, or not in the video, but in the image, I should say. So if you're trying to do more of a landscape focus, then obviously you want to have the subject portrait a little bit smaller. So if you look at something like Eric Paré, then that's a kind of a good place to kind of see what I'm talking about, where the model is very much really small in relation to the landscape. However, you can also do it in inverse and kind of have a little bit more of a portrait focus. And I think a slick way of kind of getting around this is doing a portrait orientation. So basically just flip the camera sideways 90 degrees. And that'll kind of give you something where I think it's that the human mind, or maybe it's just my brain, is just very used to seeing portraits and just imagining, okay, this is supposed to be a very portrait focused, human element focused kind of thing. So try shooting a lot of your stuff in portrait and see how that kind of works out. But yeah, basically, light painting, blue hour on the beach. Basically managed to time it out. Got some pretty good shots here and there. I always use one flash, so I probably would have used 2 flashes next time just to kind of take out some of the shadows. But for the most part, it was a pretty cool shoot. You know, got some daytime shots with the flash. Managed to get some nighttime shots. Managed not to get washed out by the rising tide as well too. So yeah, definitely all in all, it was a pretty good video. So like I said, biggest takeaways I have right here is blue hour. You know, time it, make sure you have the right tools that you need to be using. So usually, like I said, like a white tube is probably better off later in the evening because it's just so bright. Maybe use like an orange or pink tube and kind of play around with those compositions. Use a flash, like I said, if you're going to be using portrait or just doing portrait landscape. And if you're trying to do portrait landscape, definitely think about using more of a portrait orientation. So if you're trying to do that kind of portrait landscape hybrid photo, then always think about the balance between portrait and landscape. And then obviously backlighting as well too. So the light painting is serving as a backlighting. I think this whole thing in general, when you start mixing light painting and flash, it's good to remember that you are freezing, I guess, fast light. You're using fast light to freeze, and then you're using slow light to make the patterns as well too. So basically understand the basics of lighting. So like have backlight and then have like an off-camera flash, you know, kind of giving shadows, or you could be straight on ahead, whatever you want to do. So yeah, and pretty much other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.